believe that we started recording right in the middle of 2020 with all of the COVID and lockdowns going on around us, unable to meet up. So like many a young gentleman, we turned to the internet for our entertainment. Tried to find a place where we could meet up and talk about the good, the bad, and that time that Stu saw a pelican on the canal. In order to facilitate our dreams of answering all of the big questions in film, and after a few attempts at recording via other methods to various levels of success, we found Zencastr, a super easy web-based one-stop shop for recording. Log in and you're ready to record in a matter of seconds. It doesn't take a tech genius to get high-quality audio or video. And on top of that, the one time we have had an issue, the fact that the multi-layered backups are stored locally means it's easily fixed all in browser. There are plenty of tools you need when you start podcasting, so let Zencastr take that headache away as it offers a place to record, edit and distribute all from one website. Any lazy bones Jones can pick up and play and have studio quality audio or 4K video put out for the world to see when using Zencastr. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code CAGEFIGHTING and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. And now, hit the music.
I feel the need for speed.
Hello and welcome to Cage Fighting, Cruise Control. It's your main man, Andy Gillard here. Hope everybody's keeping well in the world right now.
Did it again.
I'm sticking with it, I think.
CFCC.
I think that's going to be my entrance. Stu, have you thawed out since the weekend, since your trip to the seaside in the pissing down rain and snow and everything thrown at you in Grimsby?
I mean, is there anyone who wants to listen to the fancast about the full-on experience? But it was... I've been to Grimsby twice before, 23 years ago and 25 years ago, and it was nothing compared to what we experienced on Sunday. Top 5 coldest ever. And this is with jeans, 2 pairs of socks, undershirt, t-shirt, full-on parka, hat, provided by the Atherton, gloves, scarf, and yet still, and the ridiculous pitch situation didn't affect us, but it was like walking through. I mean, I jokingly said, "Oh, someone's going to get trench foot in here," because even the concourse was just flooded, like completely flooded. So it was outside. There was a bar at either side of the way end, which was obviously full, and then this nonsense place, a bit like Fulham but older. Yeah, it was an experience to say the least. But
that's what it's about, isn't it?
Good clubland on the way as usual, but yeah, it's as bad as I expected it to be.
But in a good way, I suppose, because that's the joy of it all, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, Stu. So we've been through some of the good that Netflix has given us over the last couple of weeks, but I don't think we can ignore that. Like, there is a problem with Netflix. The big problem being the enshittification of how it's gone over the last decade, realistically. And I kind of feel that Netflix has gone from becoming something of a miracle to being something of a drain on the entertainment world. So I've decided for the next few weeks we'll have a look at that and see if we can course correct it or something along those lines. So over the next few weeks we'll be looking at the impact it's had on Hollywood, the content issue, all of the cancellations, the ownership issue, and of course enshittification at the end of it all. Week 1 will be Netflix versus Hollywood this week, obviously. This is the macro story, so what happened within the big picture of the world. Basically, my thesis here is that Netflix didn't want to disrupt Hollywood, but it did destabilise it, not maliciously, but through being a tech company and having a tech company mindset within an ecosystem that is designed for creatives. So that's my big picture here, really, is to look at that this week. Netflix did save us from pay-per-view television, realistically. But what was the cost of it? If you think back to where we were before 2007, which is when Netflix launched the streaming, and realistically, we had cable, we had Sky, our American friends had cable and all their other TV networks. It was all about spending a lot of money on getting a few channels, and you had no control pretty much over what you were watching. Netflix revolutionised the world in those terms, didn't it?
Yeah, and yeah, we get to the cost in it later on, but when you're going from, it's been a long time since I had Virgin Cable, but the sheer amount of channels that you were paying for and watching maybe 4 of them, but you had to have the rest of them because the package made it cheaper, so that you were stuck with like, at one point, what was it, like 200 channels, when you really only wanted to watch the sport and maybe Sky One.
Yeah,
later
and
Sky Max, and now Sky One again.
Invariably, the few channels that you wanted to watch, say you wanted to watch 4 or 5 channels, they would be on 4 or 5 packages, and you would have to have all of them or just miss out. There was no way to just pick and choose what you actually wanted to see. It wasn't ideal, really, not for the consumer anyway.
No, and then you look at the sport thing, and when they're broken down into Sky Sports Premier League and Sky Sports Football and Sky Sports F1, and then tried to sell it as, if you only like one thing, you can just spend £18. But then if you like more than 2, then you might as well get them all. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, this is the situation for this one. So what's it like for normal entertainment? And then it's exactly the same.
Yeah. They just had you over a barrel, didn't they? That was the problem. The first Netflix original was Lilyhammer in 2012, which is a Scandi noir crime dramedy. House of Cards is seen as the first original that really made a major impact in the world, though. That was released in 2013. By 2013, Netflix was spending more money on content than HBO. Cord cutting accelerated from 14 to 20, Netflix being seen as the main driver on why people were moving away from those cable and Sky companies. And Netflix's valuation peaked in 2021 at $300 billion. That is higher than Disney. Not even Disney Plus, just Disney as its entirety. Netflix was worth more than that in 2021.
What was the debt at that time?
I dread to think, because it's been a company that has pretty much entirely existed upon debt, especially once it started producing its own content.
Yeah. And it was a case of everyone had it as well. Everyone had it. I mean, and I'd still say there's very few people who I know who don't have it in some form. Yeah. The fact that it's automatic, it's on every remote that you get, regardless of if you want it or not. The Netflix button's there.
Mm.
I mean, I still don't.
The standard.
I mean, I have to remind myself. There's very few times I actually press the Netflix button anyway.
Same. Exactly the same.
Because you go to the menu and you just search across when you could just press it because it's muscle memory.
I only ever press this on accident, and it's usually annoyed me because I'm not looking to watch something on Netflix.
Yeah, like when you get the one remote that doesn't have Disney Plus on it, you go, oh bollocks.
Yeah, that's it. Netflix positioned itself as the anti-cable hero. It was a way to get what you wanted for cheaper and cut a lot of the chaff. The catalogue was massive, and it was good as well. It was the shows that you wanted to see. And if you didn't want to see something, you just didn't have to engage with it because of how the user experience was designed. And the user experience was revolutionary. There was no advertisements, there was no schedules, there was no bundles. You got a lot of what you wanted when you wanted it with no interruptions. And because Hollywood underestimated Netflix, it licensed them everything. Hollywood saw it as a way of getting eyes on their own product, and they saw it as money for old rope. Hence why you would have their TV shows, their films, and everything was just given to Netflix in a way that we don't really see that now. They're a lot more guarded of what is handed over, I think.
Yeah, other than Sony being the only ones left because they don't have their own thing. And having their own thing was something that happened afterwards. But yeah, you are right. If there was a film to watch, everyone would go to Netflix first to see if it was on there. And if it wasn't on there, which would be rare for a new film, then it's to the high seas because there was no other option. But yeah, I mean, you're right in the fact that it was, as these things always are when they're new, it was relatively cheap per month. And you said that Hollywood underestimated them. Look what Blockbuster, one of the biggest fuck-ups ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it cost Blockbuster its life, didn't it? Let's be honest. And I think you mentioned the high seas. I think Netflix did such a good job of pricing itself that people were happy to not do piracy. Like, they had enough there that people weren't going out of their way to illegally download stuff. People were getting a lot of what they wanted without having to break the law. And as we've always said, the problem is if you give people what they want at a decent enough price, piracy will stop. The problem is you don't do that. You charge far too much, and that's where you get the pirates coming in. So actually, you're losing out on money because those people will not give you a second glance, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, you only have to look at the Premier League issue. If you had Premier League player, every game's on there, all the documentaries that they do, which we don't even fucking get here.
Yeah,
and
it's ridiculous, isn't it, that?
I mean, what's NFL Network in this country? If you buy it for a year, I think it's about 130 quid, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Or 20 quid a month. It's perfect. It works. Well, there's no reason. I mean, I did for years just use the old service because all the games are on there. But as I've got more and more in love with the NFL and I watch everything about it all the time, NFL Network's brilliant. And yeah, obviously in America they have the same issue that we have, that they don't get everything there because of blackouts. But if they did something like that for 20 quid, you stop the Fire Stick straight away. In the majority, it's just common sense.
I think you take a big portion of the people away from those who are watching via illegal means. Realistically, we know people who pay £70 per year for their IPTV subscriptions. I think if the Premier League came out and said £100 per year, I think people would pay that extra 30 quid for the official, because it's not so much more, but you are offering a better product for it. It's something like that is going to have to break the mold, and it doesn't feel like there's anything that's really challenging Netflix, especially in the live entertainment world, I feel. Sorry, not piracy, not Netflix. That's what it's going to take, I feel. Everything at the moment is just too expensive for very little returns. Do you remember when Netflix, like pre-streaming Netflix, were you around then, or were you not bothering with Netflix? Love film, as it was.
Yeah, I was a Love Film man, more than Netflix, and Love Film was great. You had 3 at a time, didn't you? 3 discs or 3 series. And when they used to send the series out, and the box was extra big, but you thought you broke the system because it was more discs than one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it. It was great because you'd get them and then you'd watch them and then you'd burn them and then you'd send them back.
It was an excellent book system. It was perfect. I remember doing it had all 6 of the Planet of the Apes films come in one go. This is amazing. This is me sorted for a week.
Yeah, and it wasn't that expensive either. And
no,
it was
getting a couple of quid.
Yeah, it was quite quaint at the time, obviously by now standards, where you're waiting for something to drop through the post like a little Christmas present every few days. But then you'd watch them all in the space of a week, and in your case, probably a day, send them back, and then you were ready for the next one. You'd tick all the boxes, and I want to watch this next. And then it would come, and then you'd watch that. It was great. And I don't know why they didn't do it either. Or if they did, it was never advertised and it failed.
I think Netflix did it very... Netflix did both at the same time. They did their DVDs and the streaming, but it was very... the DVD side of things was very tapered in comparison to the streaming. So it didn't quite have the catalogue, I think, that Love Film did. Obviously, Love Film being part of Amazon, so I suppose they've got an inbuilt access to some of that stuff, haven't they? Yeah.
And I know Xbox had a Netflix disc they used to have to put in to be able to use it as an app because they didn't pay the license or something like that.
Right.
And it was exclusive to Xbox for years. But then I know people who use their PS3 to watch Netflix until it was turned off in the last few weeks. And
I didn't realise that.
Oh, I mean, I'm guessing it still works now, but it's just not going to be updated in the future. So
yeah, okay.
It'll be one of them, like certain browsers where it's just not going to be possible to do it.
But I genuinely think early days of Netflix. So, like as I said, it started in 2007, and I think it just dominated up until 2021 when the valuation peaked at 300 billion. it did change viewing habits. Like you said, people first went to Netflix to see if they had what you were looking for. Was this film out on Netflix? Like, it could be at the cinema and people weren't quite aware of how these things work, and they were still checking Netflix because that became the go-to place to see if there was a movie that you wanted to see.
You know what, as an aside from that, have you seen how they now, especially on Fire Sticks, or it's probably on Prime itself, where you're getting adverts for films that are in the cinema on the top?
Yeah. Confuses me every time. I'm like, are you putting this onto Prime? And then I realise, oh no, that's advertising the film.
Yeah. That's, if it can get us, like, imagine when it's going to the others, the older people and the stupid. They go, well, where is it? I have to leave the house.
That's it, isn't it? Like, that, I think, is probably the way that Netflix has most changed viewing habits, is you have to go out of the house if you want to see a new film now, and people don't do that. Like, I genuinely think Netflix is the main driver behind why cinema has been, like, dwindling over the years in terms of footfall. Regardless of all of the other stuff that we've discussed, I think Netflix is the biggest driver in it all, because it's just changed our viewing habits so much. Yeah,
and they were there at the right time, especially in 2020, when they capitalised on it all.
Yeah. And I think the things that Netflix had over Prime was always a pain in the arse, because they would have what you wanted and you thought you were going to watch it until the last second, when it would tell you, oh, it's fucking $7.99 to rent this film. You know, I didn't want that. I just wanted to watch the movie. I'm already paying you. There was none of that with Netflix. If it wasn't part of their deal, it just wasn't there. So you found something else.
Yeah, and they've added that tab now at the top where you can just put on Prime, so that you don't get caught anymore.
Yeah. Like, but that should have been there from day dot, really, because it just made no sense to show me what I wanted and then block it for me. Terrible system. The second segment that I've got here, Stu, is the residuals and labour stability. So it's the financial backbone of Hollywood, which has pretty much collapsed quietly, though. Netflix model sort of undermined the economics of creative labour, I feel, through this period of time. So what I mean is that transitional TV residuals, they could pay actors for years, and like, it would be a full-time job just collecting your residual checks. The folks who worked on Friends, for example, they could have retired the day that Friends ended, and they would be pushing $100 million by now just off some of the residuals, because it was such a humongous part of what they were doing. They could have got generational wealth just off it. Streaming residuals, $25. Like, it's nothing. Between $5 and $25, according to Google, what some of the people are getting off their residuals. Like, it's created a generation of actors who just have to be consistently working, which I think then it's sort of bottlenecks. Because if some of the bigger names and the people establish themselves are having to consistently be working, who are the people breaking through? Like, it makes it such a difficult world for them to exist in. So I think that has been an issue. And I think that's largely what the 2023 WGA and SAG strikes were about. It was to do with the economics of streaming. Yeah. And of course, the other issue is that Netflix don't release their viewership data. It talks about hours watched, and also we've come to learn that, like, they count every view as 2. So if I was to watch a film after we'd finished, that would count as 2 people watching a film. Whereas if you, your wife and kids all watch a film, that would count as 2. Like, they're so clandestine in the way they do these things. And it's such a weird thing to have done it this way. I don't quite understand why they've done it. It feels a bit broken to me, that does, Stu.
I mean, it seems like it's just like an evolution of the Nielsen system, though, where I've never met anyone who did that at all, or the equivalents in different countries. I don't believe they even exist. But it's the fact that there are people who are doing it in their little logbooks, and then, or however they do it now, and then that's rounded up. And so, well, that's not exactly the same, is it? It's not really that amount of people. So I'm just guessing that, they know that there's no way to say that how many people are sitting in a room watching it, so they just go on the average of 2. Which is...
I think with, like you say, the Nielsen boxes and whatever other countries had, it was a case of, 0.001% of the population had it. And as you say, they will then extrapolate that number to 100%. it's wildly inaccurate. But you'd think with something like Netflix, they would have direct access to the consumer base. They would know what's been streamed, when it's been streamed, for how long it's been streamed. But they don't release any of that. So anyone who is working within the creative fields, the creator of show X, he can't say, look at what I've done. It's amazing. I now deserve, whatever you pay me last time plus 50%. That approach is really stifling the industry, and I think it is strangling it somewhat. They're not able to push ahead themselves, so it's creating this world which is just plateauing with a lot of creatives, I feel.
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense why they don't do that, because and so you'll get onto it in a bit about how they go about certain other things, but when the numbers are there, especially the good numbers, and you have that ridiculous stat about 110% of Netflix subscribers have watched K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what is that really? How many is that in actual numbers that we understand?
So apparently Netflix's global subscriber base is over 260 million. So in terms of that 110% for K-pop Demon Hunters, that has been streamed, 286-ish million times. But obviously, not everyone has seen that film. Some have only seen it once, but there are going to be people who are going to have watched it dozens and dozens of times. But you would think that would be something that you would crow about. Like, this is something so good that has been viewed by our 260 million people 285 million times. But they don't do that. And why not? Maybe it is just because it's this competition that they're trying to drive, and they don't want to pay a penny more than they need to, whilst gouging everybody else.
Or if they did show it, it'd show that some people don't watch. Some of the shows are watched by hardly anyone. Yeah,
that would be quite interesting to see, because there's going to be some absolute dirge on there that's getting a lot of money and very little viewership comparatively. And from what I can tell, completion rate has become the most important thing to them. So they want to know that people complete the film, complete the TV show. They don't give a shit about the cultural impact or quality is not important to them. I think this is why it's become a second screen experience at Netflix. More people are more interested in what's immediate in their hand in front of them than on the big screen that they've got in their living room. And I think that's their priority. And it just feels out of whack to me. Like, volume is more important to them than longevity. They would rather have 10 one-season shows than one 10-season show.
Yeah. I don't think that's a Netflix problem, though. I think that's just
I agree.
I
think Netflix drives it.
Yeah. I think that's summed up more than anything else with them dickheads at Molyneux yesterday. It's on recording. They've obviously been invited there for good intentions, and they're streamers, and we're going to get views on this, and we've got to get eyeballs on the thing and whatever. And it's gone badly wrong. It's backfired massively. Everyone looks ridiculous. But look how many people are talking about it, I presume, today. Judging by Instagram, so let alone what Twitter's. I'm imagining the reaction over there is. They don't really care. This is the thing. No one cares anymore. It's like, numbers. That's all we care about.
Yeah, that does seem to be it, doesn't it? It doesn't matter if it's quality numbers. It's just numbers. It's just the raw data that counts. And it's cheap, it feels like. The next segment I've got is the death of the pilot season and the career ladder. So this is a little bit more about like the stranglehold, the bottleneck that I feel it's created. Netflix didn't just change what it made. Netflix unintentionally removed Hollywood's talent pipeline effectively. So like pilot season every year, it used to be a case of there'd be a break in the schedule and they would put out, the pilot episode of a new season, see what worked, see what didn't work, retool it, either give it a season or just can it because it was dead on arrival. That doesn't exist anymore. Netflix now has this straight-to-series model, basically bypassing the testing phase. So there's fewer entry points for new writers and actors to come into this world because it's just full. So it makes it such a difficult thing to get in. And then these shows are only given 28 days to prove themselves. And when you think about TV shows, like there are so many TV shows that took their time in finding their feet. A lot of TV shows didn't hit TV fully formed. Like Parks and Recreation, for example. I love Parks and Rec. The first season is not good because Leslie Knope is David Brent or Michael Scott. She's inept. Everything sort of goes wrong. That's not who she is, and that's not where her comedy comes from. Once they find out that really she's not them, she's hopelessly idealistic. And that's her character trait. Once they pivot to who she should really be, it becomes a whole new show. Breaking Bad, I think, is a similar thing.
I was going to say Breaking Bad, yeah.
Yeah, like there are so many shows like this where if they'd have just continued down the path they were on, they would have died on their arse. But the way Netflix works, if that season 1 doesn't work, it doesn't matter. It will never find its audience because it's immediately strangled.
Another classic one that, I mean, ironically, it probably would have been a 5-6 season hit now. Firefly?
Yeah. Yeah, I do think so. Weirdly, that did find a little bit more life on streaming, thinking about it, didn't it? People wanted more. But yeah, shows need that little bit of time, I think, to find their audience. Because not everyone, like especially in the UK, I remember Arrested Development used to be on a Tuesday night at something like 20 to 1 in the morning. It was a ridiculous time. And you could never like set your watch to it. It was never always going to be on at that time. And the amount of shows that are like that, which don't have that regular time slot, that's never going to succeed. Not until you get the DVDs or streaming life afterwards.
You look at what happened with 24. That was put on BBC Two, 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. Thinking, oh, this ain't going to work. And then look what happened. Biggest show in the world.
Yeah,
it had 2 years on BBC, and then Sky bought it here. And it's, like, yeah, it goes from strength to strength. And it was still one of the best things ever made.
Yeah, definitely. I think Netflix is just trying to stop that, or at least it has stopped that for now. I don't feel like Netflix have provided a great deal of stuff that has had that cultural impact and that longevity outside of probably Stranger Things. And I think the reason that Stranger Things has only had the longevity is because of the writers' strikes and things outside of their control. And that's why we're 10 years later and we finally finished the series, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we had it with House of Cards, and then that obviously got broken because of other reasons. But even that, something that deep, I'm amazed that even carried on. But because it was quality, it got a chance. And everyone was talking about it at the time. And it is still one of their best things they've ever done. But how many of them are there on there? Because there's so much.
Yeah, that's right. Like, it's so difficult to see the woods for the trees, I think, when you're looking at Netflix.
Let's, for argument's sake, I haven't been on this week other than to watch... Well, I watched the 3-part Take That documentary yesterday.
Oh, yeah. How was it?
Really good. It's actually really, really good.
Okay. I'm kind of interested. Like, they're not my type of music, but it's very much a cultural moment in time for this country, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. We were indie kids back then, so we had no interest in Take That. I mean, if someone said, now, do you want to go and watch Take That live? I'd go and do it. Of course I would. And I kind of got a respect for them in the latter day years, especially with when Robbie went back and they were a 5 again. I thought, this is actually something else. And as documentaries go, it's nearly 3 hours long in 3 parts. It probably could have done with another half an hour because they go.
It's spanning 30 years, isn't it? So yeah,
because a lot of it's obviously based in the 1.5 episodes is based in the 90s before he left, and then you've got all the stuff when they come back and everything. But then there's that section between the original comeback and then writing the songs again, and then it actually says 15 years later. So hang on a minute, you can't do that.
That's a hell of a jump, isn't it?
I know not much has happened, and they did tours and whatever, and everything was all hunky dory. So there's not much in it, but still, how it had gone along, it was a bit jarring just to go from that where they're all looking younger, then they're looking like Marco, he looks like a leather-faced version of himself. But yeah, I mean, you look at the top 10 series in the UK today. Number 1, Reality Check Inside America's Next Top Model. Being Gordon Ramsay looks interesting. Documentary though. How to get to heaven from Belfast? No idea.
Oh, that's Lisa McGee, the Derry Girls writer. I kind of want to see that.
Oh, okay. Bridgerton, no. The Middle. Love is
the
Blind.
American TV show. With the janitor from Scrubs.
A small town Indiana mom and her husband juggle work and home life.
Yeah, I think that's the one. Like a long-running TV show seasons, in the US. Yeah.
Love is Blind, The Lincoln Lawyer, Epstein, Filthy Rich, Raw, and then Animal Kingdom, which is a series from 2022. Bizarre. Never heard of it.
No.
And why is it there?
Like, that's proper ragtag. It's just a weird sort of top 10, isn't it?
Then look at the films. Cellar Door from 2024. Tarot 2024. If. Class, to be fair. Prometheus.
Oh, I didn't like that.
The Investigation of Lucy Letby. Interesting film. I'm not so sure anymore after watching that. But number 6, obviously, K-pop's still there. 7, Joe's College Road Trip. Tyler Perry.
Oh, God, right.
8, Kung Fu Panda. 9, Kung Fu Panda 2. 10, Kung Fu Panda 3.
Like,
you can tell it's half term.
The majority of everything that you've read out, those 20 shows and films, sound very low quality, very low rent. Not like, I'm sure they're enjoyable, but there's nothing on there that you think, oh, that sounds enthralling, I must watch it immediately.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of surprised. So, I mean, K-pop is obviously Sony and Netflix, but there's not a lot of Netflix originals. Because I do think, and we'll probably talk about this in one of the future episodes, but I do think the Netflix originals has kind of taken over somewhat, because people used to get Netflix just so they could watch the US Office. Like, that was the joke, was that it was the US Office and all of the other stuff on Netflix. That was it.
Yeah.
And there's something kind of low rent about Netflix originals now, apart from one or two which are particular standouts. There's not a lot of wheat, but a hell of a lot of chaff, I think, on there.
Yeah,
I've spoke before about that. That straight to streaming has the stink of a Jean-Claude Van Damme double team straight to DVD movie,
which is good in its own right.
I mean, it is, but like, you can't, you wouldn't look at it and think, I've got to watch that. It doesn't have the appeal.
Like His and Hers, that looks like proper up my street. That does. No one's talking about it. Of course not. What were they? Yeah.
The only one I know is the Russell Tovey BBC sitcom, which I'm guessing it's not that.
No, it's a police murder drama thing.
Oh, okay.
But they are very well made, especially the Harlan Coben ones, which we will do a Harlan Coben special when you start to watch them.
Maybe one day.
Which again, though, I watched the one from the Prime one from last year, Lazarus. Yet again, shit. But so the Harlan Coben film things on Prime, not very good. The Netflix ones, not very good, but fun.
I'm guessing that's as much to do with the source material as it is with the actual output, in fairness.
Yeah, because the Prime ones are more like they've got supernatural element to them.
Oh, okay.
Whereas the Netflix ones are more like baby's first Agatha Christie.
Right, okay. Does sound terrible, to be fair.
Yeah, which is why little Dan hates them.
Yeah, I can imagine. Awful. The final segment that I've got in this week's episode is the streaming bubble that it created. Like, everybody wanted to be Netflix, to the point it broke the streaming industry. So Netflix spent $17 billion on content in 2021. Between 19 and 22, pretty much every major studio launched their own streaming service. Netflix's stock dropped 35% in one day in April 22. And because the profits went from enormous to just very good, Netflix started then to introduce ads in 2023 after years of saying we will never put ads on our services. the growth at all costs mentality has pretty much sullied the waters, I think, for Netflix. It's been profits before everything in this case. They could probably still get away with charging what they were 6 or 7 years ago. It's just that they wouldn't be making billions. They would just be making hundreds of millions. And I think that's where we're going to get into it in the end, shittification of it, because that's where they've squeezed the audiences.
But they have been proved right, though. When you look at the reaction to that Sky Bundle thing a couple of weeks ago, when they said about, oh, you get this Sky Bundle and you get HBO Max and Netflix and whatever else was in there, Disney Plus, all in one package. And then you looked at the small print and it was all the ad-supported tiers. And so many people were like, I don't care about ads, it's fine. Like, what? Why? But people, like, there is people that just generally don't care.
I mean, I've got the ad-supported tier of Netflix because, like, I'm not paying extra and it's part of my phone contract. It wasn't previously, but I'm not paying extra for it because I don't watch it enough to make it. But that bundle is that's just going back to where we were before, just without the TV schedule. That's the only real difference, isn't it? Everything else is what it was pre-2007, except you can choose what you watch rather than it dictates depending on the time of day. So we've just gone backwards.
And like you look at what they do with Disney Plus as well, like how it's a tenner a month, which is we get use out of all three of them, so it doesn't really matter anyway. But it's a tenner a month for Disney Plus Premium or Standard or wherever it is now. The ad supported one not happening. But then if you want 4K HDR, that's £15 a month. So it's okay. It's half again to watch it in better quality that only my eyes can see at the best of times. So I have it on monthly just for that reason. That sometimes, like if there's stuff like Alien Earth comes out, and I know it's going to be dark and it'll look better with the HDR darkness and stuff like that on. I'll give them an extra £5 for that month, and then I'll drop it back down again, drop it down low. But it's the option to do that. But that before 2 years ago, that was standard.
I remember when I had Disney Plus. And like I paid for the year for the first 2 years, I paid in full, maybe even 3 years, and I don't think I paid more than £50 because I managed to find deals and stuff to keep it low. And that just seems to have completely dried up now, and it's prohibitively expensive, I think, and that is the problem. And I think that like all of the studios sort of panicked when they were trying to compete with Netflix. They started off this unsustainable arms race, and like the Netflix in their film and TV studios are just throwing more and more money at stuff, trying to get our attention. But like I said before, Netflix has broken both TV and cinema. Live cinema goer numbers have hardly been anything to write home about since post-pandemic. The people who do go on the worry that people are going to be there on the phones. Most people don't go because they know they shouldn't be on their phones. And that's what Netflix has taught people to do. So it's just kind of broken everything, really. And I don't feel like any avenue is any better off now because of it.
Shareholders.
That's the answer to everything, isn't it? They want more money. We want to pay less, but we don't have the option to.
Well, was it Matt Damon was on about this a few weeks ago, saying that they had to make that film and like rehash certain things every so often because he knew people wouldn't be paying attention.
Yeah, that they had notes that this scene's too complicated, you need to reiterate the story. And like they had to put in 3 times in the film, they had to put some exposition in to explain what's happened because the studios assume that people aren't watching these things.
I haven't seen that film yet.
I wanted to because I like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. I really wanted to see it, but like that's kind of put me off because I want to watch the film. I don't want to scroll on my phone and just sort of catch bits. So it's given me a worse, like me as someone who is interested in the product, it's given me a worse experience. And the people on the phones obviously don't give a shit. It could be anything in the background. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it's that there are too many shows, there's too much money coming out, and it's all just going too fast. Like Netflix saw itself as a tech company, not as a studio. But the tech disruption logic doesn't work here. So like within the tech industry, everything every 6 months gets half the size and twice as fast. But that doesn't work in creative institutions. Like people don't care about volume, they care about quality. And I'm kind of surprised that Netflix hasn't broken that, or maybe it has, and that's why people aren't paying attention to what they're actually watching. Maybe that's the point, is that they've just beaten people down to the point that they forget what their monthly direct debits are, and it's just habit at this point until the next thing eventually comes out to replace it.
Well, I saw there was a promotion for this app called Emma, and you install it and it tracks all your subscriptions, and they were doing like a vox pop in the street. And there was loads of people when they obviously they say, oh, how many things are you paying for, blah, blah, blah. And you look at it and some people are like subscribed to Netflix twice and they don't even know.
I've heard about stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely.
How is this possible?
Like, I think that's the plan of a lot of, not just streamers, this is a lot of subscription type organisations. They just want you to set it and forget it. And that's where they get their money from.
Yeah. I know when I was doing that with the Telegraph for mainly just to read John Percy once a week, and I think it was down to like $150 a month, and then you'd have it for 6 months, and then you'd ring. I'd set the thing in my phone on the calendar for when I knew I had to phone up and cancel, and then they'd offer me a deal. And I think the last one was like, you don't want it for 50p. I was like, well, yeah, okay,
yeah,
50p a month for 6 months. What's the point?
That's what they do, isn't it? It's a case of like, we'll give you this free trial, but you've got to provide your credit card details. Like, I'd always do it with the Good Food magazine. You'd get a load of free shit at the Good Food show. It'd be 20 quid for a year. But I would cancel it the day I set it, because I'd know that if I forget it, it's going to be there forever.
Yeah. So I do with PlayStation Network as well. Like you do it on Black Friday, sub for a year, done.
Yeah, when I learned that off you, in fairness, so that's why I started to do it. That's why I had that fucking year of pain waiting until Black Friday rolled around. But yeah, that's exactly it. Right, okay. So after the break, we'll be doing our short film review, which this week is Gregory Go Boom from 2013 and is available on YouTube's. And then we'll be reviewing our Tom Cruise film, which we've already done, but stick around anyway, because we'll be talking about Tom rather than Nick this time, with 1983's The Outsiders. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for the short film review. We are going to be discussing Gregory Go Boom from 2013, which, as I said, is available on YouTube. It is directed by, I think it's pronounced Janissa Bravo. She did the wonderful and underseen film called Zola, not about Gianfranco. It is starring Michael Cera, Brett Gelman and Sarah Burns. Gregory Go Boom is a 17-minute comedy drama available on YouTube, described as the story of a young paraplegic man who leaves home to be on his own. We will be giving this a 60-second or so review. First issue, before we get into it, have you seen Zola?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's one of the first films that I saw Coleman Domingo in, I think. He plays a pimp. Yeah, it's really weird, so I'm going to pull it up because I want to do it justice in explaining what this film is about, because it's sort of weird.
I feel like I've seen Coleman Domingo as a pimp before.
Oh, right, okay.
It could be in anything.
Yeah. So Zola is a black comedy crime film directed by Janissa Bravo. It is... where is it? The plot. I just want to find like a short description. So basically, on Twitter, two people were having a conversation about shit that was about to go down. They were going on a holiday thing, all expenses paid for a weekend. They had to go away together. And once they got there, shit went sideways. And it was all documented in a Twitter thread between these two friends going back and forth. So this is the first film that was made out of a Twitter thread. And just for that alone, 2020, like, it's a very unique concept. The end product is entirely watchable. It's kind of funny in parts. It's a decent enough film. It's nothing groundbreaking, but I think the basis of the film is so interesting that it's 100% worth a view. And as I said, Coleman Domingo's in it, so you can't go wrong. Nicholas Braun, who was in Succession. Riley Keough, who was Nick Cage's daughter-in-law at one point. There's a few people in here who I think are interesting enough to give it a watch. I'd recommend it if you get a chance. Just, it's less than 90 minutes, which is always a winner as well. So I think you might enjoy it, or at least enjoy the experience of it, if nothing else.
Yeah, that looks interesting. I mean, I always said before, I'll always give anything with Colin Domingo in the chance.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of, as long as it's like high concept, like War of the Worlds was.
It's not quite that high concept, but it's not far off. Right, so Gregory go boom. Okay, Stu, let me get 60 seconds on the clock. Oh, if I click the right button. Okay, Stu, tell me when you're ready.
Okay, so this film obviously does not bury the lead with its title, again, as we're finding out with all of these little ones. Yeah, basically, I don't think that description does it justice, really. This is about a sad... I'm going to say diseased. A sad disabled loner who lives with his sister. Is she really his sister? Bit dodgy. Who looks up to and idolises his brother, who's also a bum. They're firing guns at pigeons and seagulls in the sea, badly. Then he meets some woman who seems a bit of an nymphomaniac, has a thing for paraplegic people. He wipes piss on himself. She doesn't like it. Her ex comes back. They get it on. He gets sad. I think absolutely batshit crazy, weird. Even summing it up like that, just go and watch it. It's 17 minutes long. It's well worth it.
60 seconds. Oh. I'd forgot about the piss. There was so much piss in this film.
But it's you do listen to what's up there.
Yeah. Okay, so mine. Okay. This is a dark, unsettling film that follows a paraplegic man trying and failing to navigate independence, romantic relationships, and basic human connection. What makes it so striking is its tone. Like, it's really awkward, it's bleakly funny, it's very uncomfortable, often all at once. The film's biggest strength is its commitment to the discomfort. Sarah gives one of his most off-type performances. He's abrasive, lonely, painfully unaware that he's a massive arsehole. The short uses his perspective to explore themes of isolation, ableism, the cruelty of people who don't know how to treat someone who's different from themselves. Visually, it's raw, it is stripped down, which works for the story's bluntness. But that's also the problem with the film. Like, narrative, the intention is quite jagged and it leans into misery without offering depth or resolution. But as a character study and a tonal experiment, it's bold, it's memorable, it's quite hard to shake. It's not pleasant, but it's absolutely effective. That paraplegic word was fucking tripping me up every time. Yeah.
So why did he use his hands?
I don't know.
Just when he said, "I need to empty my bag," I just burst out laughing. I thought, I don't know if you're supposed to be laughing at this.
Well, yeah, because it's absurd, and I think there is humour in the absurdity of it all. But yeah, it's bleak as fuck, but I kind of liked it because of it.
Yeah.
17 minutes, perfect for it. Next week, we'll be watching your first recommendation for us, Stu, which is The Girl Who Cried at Pearls, which is Oscar nominated this year. I don't actually have anything written down for what it's about. Let me see if I can quickly find it. Right, The Girl Who Cried at Pearls. It's a 17-minute short. A haunting fable about a girl overwhelmed by sorrow, the boy who loves her, and how greed leads good hearts to wicked deeds. It's, I mean, I had a very brief look when we were talking pre-podcast. Visually, this looks exceptional. It looks just unique as anything I've ever seen. Yeah, French language, but there is an English language version available on YouTube as well. So that's next week's short film review. After the break, we'll be looking at The Outsiders. So, Stu, the second time around for The Outsiders, did you enjoy it more this time? Because from what I remember last time, we both thought it was all right, but nothing to write home about.
Yeah, actually I did, funnily enough. I put it on and I'd kind of forgot the theme tune. But, oh, yeah, weird. When we talked about this last time with Stevie Wonder writing the theme tune. Yeah, it was... Considering it wasn't that long ago, I didn't really remember that much about it, which is never a good sign when it's something like this that's quite hard-hitting, other than obviously the burn stuff. But yeah, I thought it actually... Maybe it did need a rewatch. Maybe we did kind of do it do it dirty first time round. But this
Yeah.
was actually a lot more gritty and evil than we thought.
It did feel like there was a little bit more depth to the movie this second viewing, where it felt quite disposable first time around. I think when I watched it,
Yeah.
this time it did feel better. Like I say, I still don't think I would recommend it because it does drag a little bit in parts, and it's not the best executed film. But I definitely had a better time second time than first time. Not that that's saying a massive amount, because I really didn't enjoy it that much first time round. It was released 25th of March 1983. I'm certain we said it during the Cage watching, but this cast is absolutely incredible. Like, I think if they'd made an Avengers film in the 1990s, they could have just lifted it out of this film, and it would have been, exactly what they were looking for. Pretty much most of the names in this have left an indelible mark on the industry for a long time to come. So C. Thomas Howell plays Ponyboy. He's the lead of the film. He's probably the least known, but he's not been without work since 1982. If you look at his IMDb, he's got 200 credits to his name. He's been consistently working throughout. So whilst he may not be the superstar that the rest are, he's had a very good career regardless.
Yeah. And I know we said it last time that what a stupid name. And the fact that they reference it, that his dad was an eccentric. And you just can't take it seriously. But expecting it coming in this time round, it's like, okay, it is what it is. It's in this world. It's weird. But you are right, though. You look at it, and it's like every scene there's someone you know. Obviously, incredibly young version of someone you know, but still. It's like it's always interesting with things like this, like why they don't lift them and have the same cast in something else, almost like an anthology kind of thing. I don't think that's ever been done.
It doesn't feel like it's something that we see a great deal of at all, does it? Especially outside of TV, like we see the occasional TV thing. But the rest of the cast, though: Matt Dillon, Ralph Macchio, Patrick Swayze, Rob Lowe, Emilio Estevez, Diane Lane, Tom Waits, Sofia Coppola, allegedly Nick Cage is in there somewhere, and of course Tom Cruise is there. I don't think you could find another film of teenagers from any period of time which had 8+ actors who all worked in one project together, all pre-fame, who then became like defining era stars. And I would imagine that the vast majority of those actors, if they haven't got $1 billion box office cumulatively for their films, they're damn close to it for pretty much all of them. I mean, I know with Tom Cruise, like he's up to 11 billion at this point. It's just incredible to have recognised that much talent and put them all in a film together. I asked Google if it could like give me films that would rival The Outsiders for this sort of star power. The top 5 that it gave me. So it first came in with The Mickey Mouse Club. Not really a film, but it's worth mentioning because of Britney Spears, Timberlake, our boy Ken, Ryan Gosling, Christina Aguilera, Kerry Russell. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Like, you got 3 core teens, but realistically, Emma Watson doesn't do a fat lot. Rupert Grint is trying. Apparently his new horror film is really good, to be fair. I've heard some good things about that. And of course, Radcliffe is just, like, he's the one, I think. The rest of the star power in that comes from the adult cast, which is second to none for anything British. It mentioned The Breakfast Club, but realistically, Molly Ringwald and Emilio Estevez are the only 2 who really had any long-term impact. And Molly Ringwald is a little bit hit and miss outside of her John Hughes work. And like Judd Nelson and Ali Sheedy, they didn't really become megastars in the way that like the ones in The Outsiders did. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, another Cage alumni film. Sean Penn, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Forrest Whitaker, Nick Cage, Eric Stoltz, Judge Reinhold, Phoebe Cates. Huge careers, but there's no Sean Penn and Nick Cage aside, there's not really a proper out-and-out A-listers in there in the way that there's several in this film. And the only one that comes close, really, is Dazed and Confused from 1993. McConaughey, Affleck, Parker Posey, Mila Jovovich, Renee Zellweger, Cole Hauser, and Adam Goldberg. Like, that's a lot of good actors. There's a few Oscars in there as well. I think that's as close as we're getting to the standard of The Outsiders. Dazed and Confused.
I don't think I've seen that.
I don't think I've seen it, but it's the I think it's the Matthew McConaughey hey hey hey. The thing I like about schoolgirls is I get older but they stay the same. I think that's the line that comes from Dazed and Confused. I know I haven't seen it. It's a stoner comedy. But yeah, I've not watched it. But yeah, that's like, I think his breakout role. I didn't actually know Affleck was in it, and that has made me want to watch it even more, to be honest.
Yeah, this looks amazing.
So with Cruise, does he run? I think he runs right at the beginning, doesn't he? When his younger brother's being beat up, he runs to chase off the socks who are attacking him. Does he take his shirt off? I don't think we see him topless, but there's a lot of vest going on throughout this film.
He does have his shirt open at times.
He does, yeah.
It's not fully off.
He's wearing that sleeveless jean jacket, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got that on quite a lot. I don't recall any sunglasses, though.
No sunglasses.
No. For the explosions, we get the fire scene, and it's kind of interesting how we've only had 4 films of Nick Cage's and houses burnt down twice in them. That's quite interesting at this point. Bit of a pyromaniac, it seems.
And he does jump over a car for no reason as well.
He does, yeah. Like, just completely apropos of nothing. Cruise doing Cruise things, stunts or tropes that you associate with Cruise. Anything stand out?
Yeah, jumping and running. There's a bit of a joke about his nose as well, which is quite funny.
Yeah. The one that I've got, so this is a story about, as a kid, he got a sports injury, which meant that he chipped his tooth. And obviously we see a chipped tooth in this film. So he wasn't going to, but he was adamant that after the fight scene, they wanted to remove the cap. So, like, he wanted to suffer for his art, which is just an incredibly Tom Cruise thing to do. Like, he had no reason to remove the cap off his tooth and show the world his snaggletooth, but he felt he needed to.
Of course he did.
Yeah. Cruise's life and thoughts on the film. So I've got no direct quotes from Cruise about the outsiders, but I've got some of his castmates. Diane Lane said that Cruise's insistence on removing that cap and suffering for his art impressed her. And Rob Lowe recounted a story saying that Cruise was hyper-committed and fearless on one of the most terrifying nights of his life. The story is... So, apparently Rob Lowe's told this story several times, but I've not heard it before. So Francis Ford Coppola decided the boys needed to bond in a more authentically greaser way. So he took the entire young cast, Lowe, Cruise, Swayze, Dylan, Estevez, Howell, Macchio, all of them, took them out into the woods in the middle of the night. And then Coppola fucked off. There were no lights, no crew, no plans, just a group of teenage actors in the dark in rural Oklahoma with the instructions to figure it out and get into character. Rob Lowe said it was terrifying because they genuinely didn't know where they were. They didn't know when Coppola was coming back. They were exhausted because they'd been filming all day, and the whole thing felt like psychological torture. He's joked that Coppola wanted them to Lord of the Flies their way into bonding as a group. The point of it was so they could get some real camaraderie and tension between them all. Coppola obviously loved immersive, borderline chaotic methods, but Lowe said it was one of the scariest nights of his life. Tom Cruise, of course, apparently loved it, and he immediately went into survival mode. And that just kind of rings true with everything we know about Tom Cruise, doesn't it, really? That he just embraced the madness and went with it.
Yeah, if there's anyone who could build a campfire from scratch, you'd imagine that it was him.
I'd put money on it. Yeah, definitely. There was no recognition from the Oscars, Globes, or BAFTAs, or even the Razzies. It was nominated for a few Young Artist Awards, but we're not tracking that one. So the cumulative total so far is 2 nominations at the big 3 and 6 Razzie nominations, but they were all for Endless Love and none of them were related to Cruise. The critical response is very average. Folks were questioning Coppola as a director at this point and felt the studio interference in removing some of the scenes from the books damaged the movie. Roger Ebert gave it 2.5 stars and said the film felt stylised, over-careful and deadening, adding that The Outsiders felt too polished for a story that should have been raw. Gene Siskel was lukewarm, saying that the film was earnest but uneven and that Coppola's visual flourishes sometimes overwhelmed the story. Those were the reviews of the theatrical release, which comes in at 190 minutes. I'm assuming you saw the 100 or just under 100-minute film, which is the director's cut where they put some of those scenes back in. the reviews of that have been slightly more positive, that it adds a more even tone to the film than the original theatrical cut, which I think sort of makes sense.
It was hour and 57, the one I watched.
Oh, I think mine was like 149, something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that sort of rings true with what I've seen elsewhere. The budget and box office, it was a 10 million budget and the box office was 25.7 million return, so decent profit on a small budget. Cumulatively, that's 40.7 million and 95.2. So he's doing pretty well early doors. Cage or Cruise?
Well, I don't think there's enough in it really because it's still only a small role. I can't see Cage doing anything different really to what he has to do here. I mean, he might have made it all a bit more silly and hammed it up a bit more, but it feels right for Cruise.
Yeah, I'm going to say Cruise, and my justification is the story that I'm about to tell you. So, Cage, or rather Nicholas Coppola, as he was at the time, he originally auditioned for the role of Dallas Winston, Dally, Matt Dillon's character. Apparently he was desperate for the role. He campaigned for it. He even tried to method act his way into getting the role. Cage has said that he dyed his hair blonde, tried speaking with a bizarre Mickey Mouse voice, attempted to embody what he thought was a tough street kid, which, I mean, a tough street kid isn't going to be talking like Mickey Mouse. That's just weird. And he leaned hard into eccentric choices, which is just classic Cage, isn't it? His uncle, Francis Ford Coppola, reportedly thought the choices were a lot. Whereas Matt Dillon came in and he was just Dally immediately. He was considered for the role of Soda Pop, Rob Lowe's character, or Two-Bit, Emilio Estevez, but Coppola ultimately decided it would look like nepotism to cast his nephew in a major role, especially when the rest of the cast is just stacked and Cage has done next to nothing at this point. Cage said that he understood the decision, but he was crushed at the time, which I can sort of see, because that probably would have been his big break. But looking back, doing that as Dally would just have been appalling, just a terrible choice. Yeah. So for that, I think he would probably have gone in and tried to do something weird with Cruise's character. And with any character that he was given, I think he would have just been wrong because he's trying too hard, it seems.
I mean, it kind of tallies where you look at the whatever the hell that was in Gunslingers.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, does it? At all. Like he's been waiting years to do that kind of nonsense. So is Cruise the saviour of cinema, or is he just another sinner?
I mean, he's not great at this because he doesn't really have much to do, but he's perfectly okay. I think he doesn't look out of place. He's not as much as a wet blanket as he was last week.
Yeah.
So he's got a bit of something about him, which we saw a couple of weeks ago. So on the way, I'll say that.
Like, it's not a film I particularly love, but I think he's good enough in it. Like, he's the big brother, so he's supposed to be protective and caring, and he sort of is. And I like the Rob Lowe and Diane Lane stories about the early Cruise that we will come to see through his other stuff. So for me, like, he is still, like, firmly in the saviour category, I think. Yeah, I mean, we're only 4 films in now, and we've only had one outright flop, and even that wasn't the worst film that we've ever seen, to be honest. It wasn't brilliant, but losing it was, ignorable pap for the majority of it.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed The Outsiders, you may also enjoy...
I think if you watch the Outsiders, you might need something a bit cheery. I'll say Grease.
Yeah, that's a good shout, isn't it? Yeah. I've tried to think as outside of the box as I can with this one. And I'm going to say Attack the Block from, I think 2011. Like, it's a group of tight-knit kids who are fighting against a hostile outside force. Just the hostile outside force happens to be aliens. I think it's a similar dynamic, but it's a very tenuous link. It's something completely different to this, but it's still a very enjoyable film.
And Nicolas Cage might be in that as well. You just don't know.
Would not shock me. Right, so next week, Stu, we are going to be watching the first of his real big hitters, like the ones that I think he's probably best known for. This has got one of the most iconic scenes in all of cinema history and also there's some big sunglass wearing. It is 1983's Risky Business. A Chicago teenager is looking for fun at home while his parents are away. The situation quickly gets out of hand. Have you seen this one before, Stu?
Yes. A long time ago. So I'm hoping that this is not a memory trick, but I remember loving this film.
Yeah, I think I watched it during the pandemic and I really enjoyed it. Also starring Joe Pantoliano. I can't beat a bit of Joey Pants, to be fair. I think he's a solid actor. Rebecca De Mornay, who was like the hottest shit in the 80s. Directed by Paul Brickman, who, I've got to be honest, that's not a name I'm particularly aware of. And looking at his filmography, it did Allison in 2012, Uprising in 2001, True Crime, Men Don't Leave, Deal of the Century. Oh, Bad News Bears in Breaking... Oh, that's not even the Bad News Bears film, is it? Breaking Training and Citizens Band. Not a director I'm particularly au fait with, but I do know this is a film that I have previously enjoyed, so I am quite looking forward to watching it again. Right, make sure you've got us on whatever podcatcher that you listen to us on. If you could give us a review, that would be really helpful. Or if not, just tell a friend about us. Tag us on Twitter if you want to get in contact. It's at CageFightingPod on all of the socials and cagefightingpod@gmail.com on the emails. Stu, would you like to say goodbye for this week?
Yeah, but first we have got it behoove us to not mention the quite insane trailer for Spider Noir, where looks even better than I imagined it was going to be. Just wonderful madness awaits in black and white or colour.
Have you decided what you're going to do? I'm not a big fan of how it looks in colour because I feel like it needs to look black and white just because of the original source material and stuff lends itself to a darker, obviously noir aesthetic.
Yeah, I that was my plan. And then I watched both. I watched the trailer. I watched it in black and white first, and then I watched it in colour, and it looks ridiculous in colour. Like when he's doing his thing in the chair, it looks like a comedy. So I don't know how just taking the colour out of something makes it look serious compared to adding a bit of spice into it. It changed it so much. So I think it might be a case of I watch it first in black and white and then I watch it again, like 6 days later, in colour. So we've got a chance to talk about it.
It's a good idea, to be fair. Yeah, best way to do it. Are they dumping all of it in one go, or are they giving it like weekly? Because I know sometimes Prime does give us weekly episodes.
I presume it'll be 3 and then every week.
I don't mind that, in fairness. I prefer that to a binge watch. I don't really want to be binging it. I want to take my time and savour it.
Yeah. Yeah, because you get... I mean, it'd be better if it was 2, but 3 isn't the best of a bad situation, I guess. But you get people in... Like, if you don't like the first one, you give it another chance. If you do that a week later, knowing how people's attention spans have disappeared, they're not going to come back. So it makes sense to have 2 or 3 to start with.
I'm fine with that. You're right. I feel like 3 is probably too many. I'd rather have 2 and then do weekly rather than 3 and then 1.
Yeah.
That feels a little bit better balanced to me. Anyway, say goodbye, Stu.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from me too. And remember, stay gold.